It's an SNL week.
Yeah,
We're the back half of the week, so you're getting closer to it. This is your fourth time hosting.
fourth time.
Yeah. You flexed your live muscles a different way earlier this year. You did that live All in the Family, which was fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
And was that a different kind of live pressure than SNL, or was it similar for you?
Live generally I find a little bit daunting.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of the, traction.
Yeah.
Get the blood up.
There was a long gap between your second and third SNL. I think it was basically like 92 to 14, and now you're repeating it pretty soon after. Does that mean you're digging it? It's good to be back?
Oh, it's great to be back. I was supposed to do one in 97, but I had some issues I won't get into. Yeah, it's down in Costa Rica. It doesn't matter. Anyway.
Yeah. There was probably like a weather. It was your flight and weather, probably something like that.
Thing.
Yeah.
And so that was 97. So I would have had the 5-year thing where you get the jacket, but that'll have to wait.
That'll be in the future. You'll appreciate it more. You're wiser.
Oh yeah.
You're a laid-back guy. You live in Maui, not LA. I think that must be helpful. What brought you to living there in the first place?
Maui?
Yeah.
Well, I ran into this fella named Willie Nelson, and we had a little sesh, hung out, reasoned together. And he says to me at the end of our conversation, he says, "Hey, man, I have a place on Maui. If you're ever there and you want to come hang out, you're welcome to." I was like, "Yeah, I think I'll do that." That's cool. And so that's it.
Wow.
Willie brought us over.
And so the first time you were there at Willie's place, did you know right away, oh, this is where I want to be?
You know what it was? Yes, that is what it was.
I can't believe it has been 10 years since the first Zombieland. It feels very recent to me because the film seems, it's a lot of people that have obviously stuck around, like Jesse and Emma Stone and Abigail Breslin and yourself. Did it feel weird that it was 10 years later? Or did it feel like you guys were just getting the gang back together?
I'll tell you the truth, that felt like no time had passed at all.
Yeah. Is that, though, in general, how you feel about things?
Yeah. It's just like the weirdest continuum. Fred gets me on this. Yeah. I can just tell the way your knowledge of art and money,
just like locked into multiple timelines. It was
right.
Yeah.
I mean, Monet's out there telling them to turn. So anyway,
you get to you guys not to give too much away. You end up at Graceland in the film, and you're an Elvis Presley impersonation you did was what convinced you to get into acting. I've heard. Is that true?
Well, actually, yeah.
I mean, who could turn that down? Was it fun to put the suit on?
It was kind of fun, I gotta say. It made me, as I walked around, I felt like the king, just for a little while.
Was this the thing when you did growing up? At what age were you doing Elvis in a way that was delighting an audience?
Yeah, I was in high school, and, I used to do a little imitation for the guys on the football bus, and so some of the guys were in the library, and they're like trying to get me to do your Elvis. You can't do it in here, man. There's a lot of people in here. No, just do it. You can do it quiet. No, I can't do it quiet. I don't know how to. Well, anyway, I don't know if it was their, somehow they prevailed on me, or just my inner performer came out. And I started singing it, kind of quiet at first. The wind bless my soul.
Yeah, that's very good.
And it, And it gets the song, kind of elevates. The heart beats so it scares me to death, and then I hopped up on the table, and then everybody was gathered around clapping, and then at the very end of it, they seemed to like it, and this gal, Robin Rogers, came up to me, and she said, I'm vice president of the drama club. Would you like to come try out for a play?
Really?
I said, you know what? Robin Rogers wants me to try out for a play. I'll try out for a play.
And that's she always scouted in the library. That's the first time it paid off. I read a story that you told recently in an interview that blew my mind. That you went to dinner with Jesse Ventura, who was a wrestler and then the governor of Minnesota. And that used to be the craziest thing, is that a pro wrestler was then the governor of a state. Back in quainter times.
Yeah.
But you were friends with him, yes?
Yeah.
And then in 2004, you went out to dinner with Donald Trump. And
2002.
2002. Donald Trump and Melania. Oh, right, because Donald Trump wanted Jesse, to be his running mate for the Democratic primary in 2004.
That's true.
What was that dinner like?
It was a little bit tedious, I'll be honest. And no disrespect to our current incumbent, but I had to just walk out after a while. You know, when the guy's just talky.
He's So of the four of you at the table, what percentage of the talking would you think he did?
He did about 98. Melania did about a 0.01. And, I think I got maybe 1%.
Yeah.
But part of it included, can you excuse me for a moment? And I had to walk out and fire one up just to
Good advice. Good advice for all of this in the moment. If you can find a moment to step away and fire one up, that'll help you through this tough, turbulent political time.
Yeah.
I can't wait from Saturday to see you back out there again. Thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure, man.
What do you